In the year 3124, humanity had finally clawed its way to the interstellar stage. After centuries of war, famine, and near extinction on Earth, humans emerged as a fledgling species among the stars. But their rise was not without consequences or complications. The United Galactic Council, UGC, an alliance of advanced civilizations spanning hundreds of light years, decreed that humans were too dangerous to participate in galactic combat. For everyone's safety, they said, the ban infuriated many. Within human space, to them it felt like being treated like children, unworthy of trust or responsibility. Yet, no matter how much humanity protested, the Council refused to budge. Their reasoning? Humans were simply too good at fighting. Captain Elias Vera stood at the edge of the observation deck aboard the Eos, a decommissioned battleship now, serving as a museum for humanity's greatest military achievements. His reflection stared back at him through the reinforced glass, distorted by the swirling nebula beyond. Once one of Earth's most decorated officers, he now served as the ship's caretaker, a glorified tour guide for alien dignitaries who came to gawk at humanity's violent past. They don't understand us, Elias muttered under his breath, watching a squadron of Zetherian drones patrol the nearby asteroid field. The insectoid race was known for their precision and efficiency, qualities the UGC admired. They didn't question orders. They followed. Them to the letter. Unlike humans. A soft chime interrupted his thoughts. Turning, he saw Lieutenant Commander Cale Armitage enter the room. Cale was part of the Human Diplomatic Corps, a group tasked with maintaining relations between Earth and the rest of the galaxy. He carried himself with the practiced calm of someone who spent more time negotiating than fighting, but there was still fire in his eyes. "Another complaint?" Elias asked, already knowing the answer. Cale sighed, handing over a datapad. "This time, it's the Zentari. They're demanding reparations because one of our colonies accidentally mined a resource-rich moon they'd been eyeing." Elias snorted. "Accidentally? We've been mining that moon for decades. If anything, they're just mad we got there first." "That's beside the point," Kyle replied, exasperation creeping into his voice. "Every minor incident like this makes us look reckless. It reinforces the stereotype that led to the combat ban in the first place." Elias crossed his arms. "And what do you want me to do about it?" "I need your help," Cale said, lowering his voice. "There's something happening out there, something bigger than petty territorial disputes. Rumors are spreading about a new threat on the outskirts of UGC space. Something ancient, something hostile." Elias frowned. "You think this is connected to the ban?" "I don't know yet," Kyle admitted. "But if it is, and if it comes here, we'll be sitting ducks. Without access to combat roles, we can't defend ourselves. Not officially, anyway." Elias turned back to the viewport, his jaw tightening. "So, what's the plan?" Deep in the uncharted regions of the Andromeda Arm, a massive vessel drifted silently through the void. Its surface shimmered like liquid, mercury, reflecting the faint glow of distant stars. Inside, a hive-mind consciousness stirred after millennia of dormancy. The entity called itself the Vorath Collective, though none of its victims ever lived long enough to learn its name. Billions of years ago, the Vorath had consumed entire civilizations, assimilating their knowledge and technology before moving. On to the next target. When they encountered resistance, they adapted, evolved, until nothing could stop them. Eventually, even the concept of opposition ceased to exist. But now, after eons of silence, the Vorath detected signs of life once again. Primitive signals bounced across the cosmos, betraying the presence of countless species scattered throughout the galaxy. Among them, one stood out, a young, aggressive race known as humans. The Vorath found them fascinating. Unlike other species which relied on logic and cooperation, humans thrived on chaos and unpredictability. Their wars were brutal, their strategies unconventional. Even when faced with overwhelming odds, they refused to surrender. In all their existence, the Vorath had never encountered such tenacity. It intrigued them, and so the collective decided to test humanity's limits. Back on Earth, tensions simmered beneath the surface. News of mysterious disappearances along the galactic frontier began to spread, fueling paranoia and fear. Entire colonies vanished without a trace, their communication arrays reduced to static. The UGC dismissed these incidents as natural phenomena, or piracy, but whispers of something darker persisted. Elias and Kyle worked tirelessly behind the scenes, gathering intelligence and rallying support. They knew the truth. The Vorath were coming, and when they arrived, humanity would have two choices: submit or fight. "We can't rely on the Council," Elias told a small group of trusted allies gathered in a secure underground bunker. "They'll debate until it's too late. By then, half the galaxy will be gone." "What do you propose?" asked Dr. Lila Chen, a xenobiologist who specialized in studying alien psychology. "Start a rebellion?" "In a way," Elias replied. "We need to prove that the combat ban doesn't define us, that we're capable of protecting ourselves and others without losing control." "And how exactly do you plan to do that?" Kyle asked, raising an eyebrow. Elias grinned. "By showing them what happens when you underestimate a human." Weeks later, the first attack came. A fleet of Vorath drones descended upon Epsilon 7, a remote research station on the edge of human territory. The station's defenses were overwhelmed. Within minutes, its crew slaughtered without mercy. The UGC scrambled to respond, but their forces were slow to mobilize. By the time they arrived, the Vorath were already gone. Elias watched the aftermath unfold from the bridge of the Eos. Though officially retired, he'd secretly reactivated the ship's systems, preparing it for battle. Around him, a skeleton. Crew of volunteers worked tirelessly to bring the vessel up to speed. Most were veterans like him, itching for a chance to reclaim their honor. "This is it," Kyle said, standing beside him. "Our moment." Elias nodded. "Signal the fleet. Tell them we're ready." As the Vorath launched their second wave of attacks, humanity struck back. Using guerrilla tactics and sheer audacity, they lured the invaders into traps, exploiting weaknesses the UGC had overlooked. The Vorath, accustomed to methodical conquest, struggled to adapt to humanity's chaotic style of warfare. Word of the resistance spread quickly. Other species, inspired by humanity's courage, joined the fight. Together, they formed an unlikely coalition, united by a common goal: survival. The final battle took place above Alpha Centauri, where the Vorath flagship loomed like a dark sun. Outnumbered and outgunned, humanity launched a desperate assault, sacrificing everything to reach the heart of the enemy vessel. Elias led the charge, piloting a stolen fighter straight into the flagship's core. When the smoke cleared, the Vorath were no more. Their collective consciousness had been severed, leaving only fragments of their once mighty empire. Humanity emerged victorious, but scarred. In the aftermath, the UGC convened an emergency session to address the crisis. Representatives from every species praised humanity's bravery and ingenuity, acknowledging that their actions had saved countless lives. Reluctantly, the Council lifted the combat ban, granting humans full membership in the Galactic Alliance. But Elias knew the fight wasn't over. As he stood before the Council, accepting their gratitude, he couldn't shake the feeling that the Vorath were just the beginning. Somewhere out there, in the vast expanse of the universe, another threat awaited. And, when it came, humanity would be ready.